All right, so what we saw here yesterday was quite interesting on the XAUUSD, and the fact that price action is sitting on a very strong demand zone at the 1970 1975 area was a sign to look out for buying opportunity in this market. And when price action started this week, we saw this whole situation where our price was caught within this flat channel between the 1985 and the 1977. And you all know what we look out for whenever price action is caught within this kind of channel. We want to see a breakout of structure for buying opportunity or a breakdown of the structure for selling opportunity. And with the look of things right there, and with our buy stop order above this structure here, we had our first buy position for the week on the XAUUSD, and we were lucky enough to be part of this move as price action moved about 160 pips in our favor before this bearish momentum began. And I hope you did move your stop loss accordingly to lock in some profit as price action moved in our favor. And if you did, you would have been taken out with at least some small profits at that point in time. And at this point, what is going to be our plans for today? What are we intending to do on the XAUUSD for today? So personally, we already have a trend line which we acknowledged yesterday, which is the bullish trend line you can see on your screen here after we connected a series of higher lows in this market. So this same trend line here is going to be our guide for today. So as long as price remain above that trend line, we look out for more buying opportunities in this market. So that is what we are going to be doing. So anywhere above the trend line and the 1985 will welcome some buy position. But if at any point in time the breakdown of that trend line happens, then we will be getting ready to sell, where a further breakdown of the 1975 will welcome more selling opportunities in this market. And I think I was able to identify a simple setup on the 50 minutes time frame, which I would love to share with you. And I think we can use this structure to guide our trading activity for today. And now this was what I was able to spool out from the 50 minutes time frame, and this is what we have here. It's a very simple setup where I acknowledge the fact that price action has been bearish since the early hours of today, and in order to acknowledge that, I connected a series of lower highs which gave me this bearish trend line you can see on your screen. Then we had this demand zone at the 1988 level, which has been a strong demand zone in the last 12 hours in this market, I guess 12-15 hours thereabout, and has been a very strong demand zone. And I was the opinion that if price action breaks out of the 1991, this demand zone has proven its validity in this market, then a breakout of that level will definitely have broken out of that trend line to give us a buying opportunity. But that did not happen here. So at this point, I had my obviously, as you can see, I already have my sell stop order triggered below the 1985, and I'm of the opinion that price action may continue to the downside from this point. And for those who have joined this bearish momentum, well done to you for being on standby to have got this move. And for those who are not yet in this trade, well, you don't need to worry, and there is no need to jump on a moving train right now, as we need to be very patient. And how do we intend to join this if you had missed out on that opportunity? Well, I would advise you to remain patient, and since we already have a breakdown of a key structure like the 1985, which happens to be our resistance line at the beginning of the week. Remember, we had the resistance line broken here. So we had a breakdown of that resistance line right now. So what I'm advising you to do here is to hold on for a retest of structure to happen at one point in time before we want to be joining that move to the downside. So let's see how this plays out in the New York session today. So what you want to do here is to hold on for a retracement phase or a trend continuation pattern to be part of the bearish move. And please ensure that you have your sell position secured. For those who had already joined right now, ensure you secure your sell position, and remember that we are on a very critical line right now, which has been a strong demand zone in the past. So anything could happen. We could have a false breakdown, so it is very important that we move our stop loss accordingly, lock in some profit, and the more price action breaks further to the downside, the more confident we are in our sell position in this market. So back to the 1 hour time frame here. So that is the trend line. I want to show you the trend line here so that we have things clearer. So this is the trend line. So it's still very critical. Anything could still happen. Buyers could still come in from this area to push price to the upside. So we need to be very careful. Move your stop loss, lock in some profit, and the more price action drops below the trend line, further away from the trend line, the more comfortable we shall be in this market. And please note that there is still a tendency that price could still come back, do a retest of structure to send price crashing further to the downside. And we are still, remember, we have the trend line here. Price could still come into the trend line to retest that structure to incite a bearish move to the downside. So let's see how price action plays out from this point, and I will see you tomorrow as we review this market to see how well price has been doing so far. If you have any questions, let me know in the comment section.